the question that you're asking and the experience that you're having, isn't it interesting just in a way how much we share in this human condition? How easy it is to feel guilty or as if we're not good enough. I'm just saying it because there was a question not that long ago about guilt, even about negative thoughts. And there is one thing that we know for certain, absolutely for certain. We can't go back in time and do it again, ever. We just, if we were master, I guess we could, but we're not, and we can't. So we have to really give ourselves room to be human, to know without a doubt that we will make what we're calling mistakes. I think, I've told you this, I have a sign that I picked up. I was 13 years old when I bought it. And it says, the difference between a stumbling block and a stepping stone is how you use it. And it's brilliant because it's all of life, isn't it? It's exactly what we're talking about. This is a stepping stone. It's not, don't let it be a stumbling block. Don't let it take you down. That's the only thing guilt does. And people have done some very, very horrible things. Many. I don't know what any of the life circumstances are that we're talking about here, and always, I feel, always, in every, I worked in the field of chemical dependency, many of you know that. I was a general internist, but I had a little niche in my practice that was specifically for addicts and alcoholics. And when people are using, they do some very, very horrible things. We've all seen it in the movies. I've seen it in real life. I met some very beautiful souls, too, in this instance that I'm about to tell you. Very beautiful souls who I knew had killed somebody. They knew they had killed somebody years before, but they did it. They did it to get money and drugs. Imagine living with that. One of these people came into recovery, went on to start very successful drug and alcohol program, probably served thousands of people. That's what we do. We just keep putting one foot in front of the other on what can be a very difficult path. Whatever the difficulty is for us in the moment. And I mean this really because if I had allowed myself to stay with the anger that popped up for me last night when that door opened, it was an immediate kind of like, really? I mean, how could you greet me like this? And I felt that for an instant. Then I said to myself, if you do that, you will blame Barry for your loss of peace. If you don't do that, you won't lose your inner peace. And that thought went through my mind, and it was truth. So to me, in that moment, that was spiritual progress. Is it a big deal? Of course not. It's nothing like what people are going through. But each of us has our spiritual tests where we have them. And if we can learn and grow and move on, that's what God wants of us. God doesn't want us to suffer. That is so, when I left my first husband, well, forgive me, it's embarrassing. Not my first husband, my second husband. Barry, another Barry, who many of you have heard me talk about. We just adored each other, and I left in not a good way. I just left, and this story is not important. What is important is that for 3 years, 3 years, I sat in front of my altar promising God that I would not let myself feel happiness or joy until Barry did, because he was very hurt by the separation. 3 years. Finally, a voice came to me, literally, Shanti, do you think this is what God wants? And it was so absurd when I saw it. What was my suffering, my guilt, my throwing myself in front of the altar? I was never quite that dramatic, but I did it anyway. I didn't throw myself, is what I mean. I sat there nicely and quietly, promising God. God doesn't want us to suffer. He wants us to keep coming towards Him. He wants us to keep moving closer to that light, that love, that wisdom, that unconditionally loving space until we are it, and then we love others with that love. That's all God wants. So, move on. See that you've been handed a stepping stone and use it. Use it well.